headphones. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Let's do this in 3, 2, 1. And welcome to the show. Do you know what today is? Today is Bastille Day. Look. I relit the studio and added a few things. We're going to start to kind of crank it to a new level, make it even look even better. You'll notice I'm wearing one of my original designs here. One of my original designs is a T-shirt that you can get right up here on tpublic.conservatees. This may get me banned from Facebook. Watch. It is. I'll start listening when you stop burning shit. But I put a little asterisk where the I is in shit. So yeah, I'll probably get banned from Facebook for that. You know, they did that the last time when I had the T-shirt that said Chuck Fina. Anyway, welcome to the show. How are you? Glad to have you here with me on the show. This is a casual what? It is a casual Tuesday, and it is Bastille Day. Bastille Day is when the French overthrew. Was it Louis Trey? Was it Louis Trey, the guy who did the killer cognac that sells for $150 a glass now? Anyway, and Marie Antoinette lost her head over the whole deal. So interesting because there are some on the left in this country who want to do the same thing in this country. Hello, Dave. And so, you know, whatever works. Okay. I hope it looks okay. Looks a little. We might have some little bit of some network stuff messing with me. Anyway, let's start with the chaos in the country, shall we, and what's going on in major cities in the country. And have you noticed that there aren't a lot of statues being torn down lately? Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that there aren't as many statues being torn down lately? The last couple of days, you know why? Because Donald Trump said, if you tear down a federal statue, you're going to spend 10 effing years in prison, you punk ass little mother effing Antifa BLM POS. Okay? You will spend 10 effing years in jail. Did you notice there's not a lot of that shit going on now? You know what they're going after now? They're going after Christian iconography. They're trying to burn Catholic churches. They're trying to deface the Virgin Mary, who is portrayed as a white woman, I guess. And you know, whatever. And also Jesus Christ. Jesus Cristo. They're trying to take him down, too, because he's not a white guy. I guess a Middle Eastern guy, or some people are saying he's a black guy, whatever. I don't care. I don't care. But if you're going to deface things, that's where the cowards have moved, because they can't get punished with 10 years in prison. So now the cowards are moving towards churches, trying to burn down churches. And you know what? I'm so effing done with this bullshit. I'm so done with this. In the country in the last couple of days, I don't know if you knew this, but Donald Trump's lead, because Joe Biden was kicking Donald Trump's ass by 12 points, right? 12 points. It's been cut more than half. It's a neck-and-neck race. You know why? Because Donald Trump went to Mount Rushmore and said, you know, enough is enough. Because Donald Trump went to the White House and they did the 4th of July, and he said, enough is enough. It's okay to be patriotic, and there's nothing wrong with it. And we're not going to sit here and let this Black Lives Matter Marxist anarcho-communist movement turn the country around. It's not about, who was he in Minneapolis? Who was the guy in Minneapolis who got killed by police? Who was he? Who was the guy in Minneapolis? What was his name? Most people on the left can't say it because they don't remember. Because this has not been about George Floyd's death. This has been about an anarcho-communist movement, the Black Lives Matter. They are Marxists, and they want to take over the country. This was the wet dream of the class of 1968, and we're watching it go up in flames. And the only reason it's going to go up in flames is because this president has the balls, or as the president of the Goya Corporation says, the cojones, which I believe they're actually going to start selling now. They have, I think they're going to have Donald Trump. They're going to do like chickpeas or something. They're going to call them Donald Trump's cojones, and they're going to start selling those. I love Goya products, and I did the boycott. I went out and I bought a bunch of Goya products. Although I have a lot of Goya products in my counter in my cabinet anyway. So I love the fact that the left of this country, and hello Felix, and hello Chris, and hello Mate. I love, and Carol and Dennis. Oh my God, look at all you guys watching it. Brandy and Greg. I love that the Democrat Party wanted to tell Hispanics not to buy Goya products. Now, I'm not Hispanic, but seriously, come on. All right, come on. It's not going to happen. Nonsense. And the Goya company is a tremendous success story. Let me see. I have the president of Goya here because he's an inspirational man. Here he is. Here's the Goya president talking favorably about Donald Trump, which is what this is all about last week. Here it is.
We're all truly blessed at the same time to have a leader like President Trump, who is a builder.
No, wait. You can't talk positively about the president who brought the Hispanic unemployment rate to historical lows, never seen before in the history of the country. Oh, might also mention black people, lowest unemployment in the history of the country, even though the Democrats came along with their Great Society, which destroyed the black family. But this guy comes out and says, hey, man, Donald Trump's doing a great job for us. Now you have to boycott this man's products. Guess what happened? The opposite, you a-holes.
And that's what my grandfather did. He came to this country to build, to grow, to prosper. And so we have...
Hello to Brad McDonald, who owns a food distribution company of his own.
Incredible builder.
And it's awesome.
And we pray for our leadership, our president, and we pray for our country that we will continue to prosper and to grow.
Wow, imagine that. Praying for the prosper, for the country to prosper. Imagine that. He needs to come down. He needs to have his products boycotted. Laughable on the face of it. And I'm just saying this as a Caucasoid. You can't tell Hispanic people to not eat Goya products. And the rest of us too, because they're great products, okay? But I'm just saying, I go to a terrific market near my house that caters to the Spanish community. And I got to tell you, I'm going to snooze that. I got to tell you, for you to say that you unite and boycott Goya is so idiotic. Is so effing idiotic. And Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wasn't done with their stupidity, by the way. AOC this week said the reason why there's a massive increase in violence in New York, including the murder of 1-year-old DeVelle Gardner. I'll get to that in 1 second. She says it's because people don't have jobs and they need bread. This woman is dumb as a box of rocks. Without the rocks!
I think there's something about this uptick in crime. Let me make something super clear for everyone here having this question.
God, this woman is so stupid. And the only reason why she is even being noticed is because she's hot. Okay, let's just face it. I mean, I'll look at all the major networks, well, the exception of MSNBC, because none of the people there are very attractive. But the only reason she's made it this far is because she's pretty hot. She's dumb as an effing box of rocks.
The New York City Police Department has not been defunded.
Oh, she's talking up, which shows that she's even dumber than we even imagined. Because when you talk up, it shows that you're really stupid.
Even with these budgetary changes that were proposed in city council.
No, there's a $1 billion cut to the police department, you a-hole. I mean AOC hole.
A, they're not fully enacted. B, they aren't a real $1 billion in cuts.
Really? Explain that to us. I mean, if you could even explain yourself out of a paper bag.
And C, it's not really, like these cuts aren't really real. And again, they haven't even
I don't know. If you say there's $1 billion in cuts, I say they're pretty real. But go ahead, idiot.
Happened yet.
Idiota.
Literally have not even happened.
Keep going.
This uptick in crime. We have funded more and more. We have shoved more and more and more money every single year into the NYPD. $6 billion.
Keep going.
Well, this uptick in crime, the NYPD themselves have told a story that's disproven by their own data. At first, the NYPD, they went out and they said, okay, this uptick in crime is happening because of bail reform, because of all of these reforms.
Well, yeah, because it's not reform. You're actually letting people out when they commit crimes immediately without bail.
That we had now. Wait, but they just released data a couple weeks ago.
Data or data?
Showed that out of almost all the people who bail reform, like their actual crime
get to
data,
the point, sugar.
There's record unemployment in the United States right now.
Here we go.
The fact that people are at a level of economic desperation that we have not seen since the Great Recession.
No, I actually, a month and a half ago, 3.8 million jobs were added, and spending is up, and people are sick of your shit.
Maybe this has to do with the fact that people aren't paying their rent and are scared to pay their rent.
They're scared to pay their rent. Have you ever been scared to pay your rent?
And so
I always say that, paying rent sucks, but I've never been afraid of it.
they go out and they need to feed their child and they don't have money. So you maybe they're put in a position where they feel like they either need to shoplift some bread or go hungry that night.
Now, I don't think that bread is anything to do with this. I think it's big screen TVs. I think it's iPhones. I think it's designer clothing. I think it's athletic shoes that cost $400. And honestly, you are so goddamned stupid. And I don't like to use that expression very often, but you are so effing stupid. Honestly, just go away. We have seen cities destroyed. And by the way, Minneapolis destroyed. And the president, the governor of Minnesota, said, hey, we need $550 million to rebuild Minneapolis because of the riots. And Donald Trump said, suck it. Thought that was pretty funny, actually. He said, suck it. He said, no, not going to happen. They wanted money from FEMA. And Donald Trump, while the destruction in Minneapolis was happening, in Minneapolis, he said, hey, man, I will send in the National Guard. And the governor and the mayor said, no, we don't want that. And so consequently, the place burned, and now they want federal money. And the city of New York wants $7.6 billion. And I hope Donald Trump says, stick it up your ass. I really, really do. Really, really, really do. Oh, there's my shirt. There you go. I'll start listening when you stop burning shit. Order that, okay? Order that today. You can get it on a T-shirt like this. Stop burning shit. There you go. Or you can put it on a hoodie or whatever. I'm done with the NFL. That's a big one. To wearing a mask because I'm not a sheep. All of that stuff. So, all right, let's move on to some other stuff here. Oh, Joe Biden appeared in Scranton, Pennsylvania. That's where he was from apparently, and he played to a really huge crowd there last week.
You look like 4. 3. Oh, you're a big guy.
I would say there were tens of people there, but I don't even know if there were tens of people there.
Well, it's great to see you, honey.
He really looks like the Crypt Keeper. You're good.
You can go.
And here is by the way, Joe Biden forgetting his plan for the economy.
Lonnie knows I believe this every fiber of my being. We're posed.
And at his age, you need to concern yourself a lot with fiber, particularly if you're going to try to poop.
Proposed is it can be done. I think we're in a position to really make it happen.
Okay, again, lowest African American unemployment, Hispanic unemployment, more people in the workforce than ever before this sham coronavirus. And you're going to make things better even though you've been in Washington, D.C. for 50 years.
And my team and your team are already working closely together to light up the path forward here. Critical laws like the PRO Act.
Why haven't you done this in the last 50 years?
To strengthen collective bargaining. On politics like prevailing.
There he is. He's performing an active oral gratification on the unions there.
And look, I guess I
don't remember the name of it. Let's just go watch it again.
Look, I guess I'm taking too much time, but
yeah, I'm taking too much time because I kind of forgot what my plan was all about because I'm really, kind of a mess. Hello, Norm. Hello, Diane. Hi, Diane. How are you? And Tom and Chad Potier and Craig. Craig says Biden looks like the priest on Poltergeist. Yeah. Priest on Poltergeist. I remember. Was that the second Poltergeist? Was that the second one? I don't remember. Anyway. You saw Bill de Blasio while New York City burns painting the Black Lives Matter logo. Here he is. Yeah. Pancake batter. No, it's Black Lives Matter. There he is. He's never painted. Look at it. Watch it. Him and Al Sharpton. Watch. You only need to rub it back and forth a couple times there, Al. You're familiar with that. And act like you know what you're doing. Act like you're really doing something in front of Trump Tower there. Look. No justice, no peace. Al Sharpton is a piece of, whatever. Anyway, there he is. There they are. That's important. Since then, the BLM logo was defaced by people who wanted to deface vandalism. And here is de Blasio talking about how this is so important, even though tens and tens of people are being murdered.
We are saying Black Lives Matter in New York City and Black Lives Matter in the United States of America.
Yeah, they don't if you're 1 year old and you get murdered last weekend in New York City. Yeah. Let me explain what that's all about, because I don't even remember this, but there was an 11-year-old murdered in Chicago last weekend and nobody remembers her name. Do you know why? Because I think 7 kids under 18 years old were murdered around the country last weekend because of defunding the police and showing criminals everywhere that the police are not going to be there. It's happening in New York City. 1-year-old DeVille Gardner. The family and the mom and grandma of this precious baby, 1-year-old, shot in the tummy because some violent thugs realized that there's no non-uniformed police in New York City. And so if you don't see blue as part of the uniform, then you can do anything. Here's the story last night on Fox.
Girlfriend was on the phone with my mom. She said, you have to call your baby mother. Junior's in the hospital. So when I called her, she just, as soon as she picked up, she was just crying immediately. You need to get here, hurry. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she was like, Junior got shot in his stomach. And
this is a father talking about his 10-month-old baby being shot in the stomach in his stroller.
It's okay.
How does this make any sense? How does this make any sense?
Broke me down because I didn't know, if my son was going to make it or not, and he didn't. And I'm sitting here calling everybody, nobody can tell me the condition of my son. He getting transferred from hospitals. Nobody's seen him yet. The doctors can't say nothing. It's just, I was looking for answers. That wasn't answered for me, and it just broke me down. And then when the doctors came out and told me, it just, I just lost myself.
For the cowards that did this, you should be ashamed of yourself.
A life never realized. A 10-month-old baby.
Because everybody talk about Black Lives Matter. What about baby lives?
They don't matter unless they're killed with a political purpose in mind. If there's a narrative that has a political purpose, which is police randomly shooting black men, which doesn't happen, if there's nothing that forwards that narrative or the narrative of Marxism and anarcho-communism, then that life doesn't matter. I'm also going to add that if it's an unborn child, does not matter, particularly in the black community.
What about teenager lives? You took an innocent child.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because a cop didn't do it.
From a mother and a father, as well as the grandparents.
And I hate to say this, but DeVille Gardner will be forgotten in moments.
And I don't think it's fair.
DeVille, do you believe, based on what you know now, and no one's talking, that people thought that your son's life mattered by the way they're conducting themselves right now?
No. Anybody who said that they're just lying, because if you know information, that needs to be said, and no information needs to be said. This is my son.
Snitches get stitches, baby. Snitches get stitches. That's what it's all about, man. Snitches get stitches. Unbelievable. I do want to share some of the audio here. Let me find it real quick of the members of the black community who were saying, hey, we want the plainclothes division back because they did something. I'm just going to play the audio here, guys. This is from, from New York City, Channel 2. Here it is.
Renewed debate tonight over at least one part of the city's police reform after another tragic weekend of gun violence in the city. Tonight, there are new calls to bring back the NYPD's recently disbanded anti-crime unit. CBS 2 political reporter Marsha Kramer has the story.
A dramatic moment. Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams holding up a pair of baby shoes after a 1-year-old became the latest victim of gun violence, caught in the crossfire at a family barbecue.
Babies are not supposed to be wearing these in a coffin.
Adams, a former cop, became the second member of the African American community to call on the NYPD to stop the violence by reinstituting the anti-crime unit.
Defund the police because of that guy in Minneapolis. What was his name? You don't remember? BLM, do you remember? George Floyd? Probably not.
Cover cops whose job was to get guns off the street.
Nothing to do with, it's nothing to do with New York, by the way. Nothing to do with New York. And look what's happening in New York. Minneapolis is forgotten. Nobody gives a shit about Minneapolis. You know why? Because Minneapolis is flyover country. $550 million worth of damage to Minneapolis. Minneapolis doesn't mean dick to this movement. It doesn't mean a thing because it's flyover country. George Floyd's life doesn't mean anything because it's a Marxist, anarcho-communist movement. It's bullshit.
Banded during the anti-cop protest that shook the city.
I think that a total elimination is something we need to reevaluate, right?
No shit.
Now bad guys are saying that if you don't see a blue and white, you can do whatever you want.
That's right.
Community activist Tony Herbert agrees.
The guns keep going off, and now we have a 1-year-old, and the blood is on the hands of this mayor and the state legislature.
The mayor decried the shootings.
This is not anything we can allow in our city, and it's heartbreaking.
De Blasio is such an ass. Such a failed, awful, wretched, terrible, I mean, worse than David Dinkins, mayor of New York.
It's heartbreaking for so many reasons.
Shut up.
And it begins with the fact that there are just so many guns out there. And
it's guns.
Is a New York tragedy.
But the mayor did not propose any new solutions to ending the gun violence. This says shootings for the week were up 277%.
Because you get rid of the plainclothes unit, gun crimes up 277%, and it's because people were stealing bread, right?
9 compared to 13 in 2019. The number of victims up 253%, 60 compared to 17 in 2019.
Wow.
John Jay Professor Joe Giacalone, a former cop, says the city has been eroding the ability of the cops to get guns off the street for years. The latest, the disbanding of the anti-crime units.
The gun police are no longer out there. Criminals are opportunists. You know that.
All this comes as the latest...
And we've seen this time and time again. With Democrat proposals, they always fail. They always fail. And if you don't believe me, bring it, Democrats. Bring it with your anti-crime proposals. They always do a face plant. You know why? Because while you're singing Give Peace a Chance, criminals are going, oh, you idiots, we are going to so destroy everything. You effing morons. Hello, Amy and Robert and Craig. Glad to have you joining me tonight. And also on the other page, Norm. Oh, Norm, the latest body count in Chicago, I believe, was only 13 murdered this weekend in Chicago, down from 17 last weekend. I guess that's good news. I could be wrong. Oh, the mayor of Chicago. This is really funny. Lori Lightfoot, lighthead, idiot, asshole, douchebag. She's more focused on bringing out a BLM horseback rider and calling him the census cowboy. This is one of the dumbest things since last week when Chris Cuomo, not Chris Cuomo, it's the brother, the governor of New York. Which one is he? Asshole. What is he? He's not Fredo. Because Fredo is Chris. Andrew Cuomo brought out the coronavirus green mountain that looked like Peter Brady's volcano in the Brady Bunch. Lori Lightfoot, after another devastating weekend, and by the way, the last 4 weekends, about 65 or so people were murdered in Chicago. In 4 weeks, in a month, 65 people were murdered in Chicago. Think about that. Think about that. Look, 300 people shot and 65 murdered in Chicago in 4 weeks. And Lori Lighthead is doing this idiotic stunt.
When I was a kid, I loved the Batman TV show. And when the city of Gotham had a real...
She looks like Beetlejuice. You must admit she looks a lot like Beetlejuice.
Difficult challenge. One of the things that the mayor there did is he called out and he sent out the distress signal to Batman. So we are doing something similar for...
I love the, I absolutely love the sign language people because they're just so animated.
The census.
Used to be this kind of like, blah, 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 finger here, finger there, blah, blah, blah. Now they really get into it.
And I'm happy to report...
Okay, and she's saying, and now Lori is putting on a really stupid green cowboy hat.
Calling out the census
because she's
cowboy.
An idiot. There you go. Here comes the census cowboy. Of course, they're playing, Ride Till I Can't No More. That, what is it, Old Town Road.
You see the census cowboy coming to your neighborhood. That's not a good thing. That means you got to step up and do your part.
The census cowboy is coming. The census cowboy. This is the census cowboy. I'd rather have the ice cream man. I don't care what color he is, but I'd rather have the ice cream man any day than the census cowboy. What's the census cowboy going to come in your neighborhood for?
And make sure that you fill out the census.
Yes, or the census cowboy will pump you full of lead.
He's going to be going to the 10 communities across...
I noticed the census cowboy is about 12 feet away with a mask on.
Across Chicago that have the lowest census response rate. And it's time to giddy up.
Giddy. It's time to giddy. It's probably the first time she's ever used that expression.
Let's do this, Chicago. Let's make the census...
How about the census cowboy bring some guns with him and shoot back at criminals? That'd be nice.
Cowboy proud. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, census cowboy. Wow, that was... Do you remember the Domino's Pizza Noid? That's almost as bad for those of you who were alive in the 80s. It was pretty bad. Hey, Nick, how you doing, my nephew? How are you, buddy? And Carol. Hello, Carol. Look at all the emojis. Woo, I love you guys. I'm going to leave the Hakeem Jeffries story out just because, there's so much. Don Lemon. This is interesting. Don Lemon. I've been talking about this for a very long time, since I was in my 20s as a beginning broadcaster. And by the way, order these designs right there. Order these designs, including I'll start listening when you stop burning shit. Right there. You can order at tpublic.com, conservatees. tpublic.com/conservatees. Order it right there, okay? Because they're going nuts. And check this out also. Done with the NFL. Hashtag done with the NFL. That's huge. Huge, huge, huge. Hi, Whit. Hi, Carol. Hi, Robert. Hi, Amy. It's huge, huge, huge. I've ordered mine, including my I'll start listening when you stop burning shit shirt. Order these now. And I'm done with the NBA and then done with the NFL. Order those now, because it takes a couple weeks for you to get them. And the NFL season is coming. And if you're effing done with the NFL, and I'm done with the NFL, and I love Patrick Mahomes and all that, but honestly, if you're going to sing a separate black national anthem and get on bended knee and change the names of the Redskins and all this stuff, I'm done. Done with you. Done with you. So frickin' done with you. Done. And I hate it. I really hate it. I really, really, really hate it. Let me move that over a little bit. I hate saying that I'm not going to watch the NFL this year. I hate it. I love watching the NFL. I love watching football. But I'm not going to effing do it this year. I'm done. If they want to turn their shit around, and if I'm going to go to a game and pay $10, $12 for a beer while some a-hole kneels during the national anthem because of some sort of perceived institutional racism that has allowed him to become a $100 million contract player, F you. I'm done. Done with the NFL. And if you want to turn this shit around, you want to turn it around, you want to stand for the national anthem, you want to knock off this nonsense, the NBA players wearing these expressions on the back of their jerseys like F the police, and seriously, that was one of them, and all of this, defund the police. Done. You play a child's game and you get paid a hell of a lot of money for it. You play a game that most of us left behind in our adolescence. That's what you do for a living. That's what you do for a living. And I think and because you do it in the greatest country in the history of mankind, we've been able to make it the greatest sport in the history of mankind. The NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball. We've been able to overtake the world and overtake sucky ass sports like soccer and cricket. We've kicked there, and rugby. Rugby's nice, but honestly, very limited appeal. But we made them the best. We made them the best. We effing made professional wrestling. Are you seeing this shit at professional? At WWE? Are you seeing this shit at WWE? Are you seeing this? America invented American football. We took it away from sucky-ass soccer. Sorry, soccer's boring as snot. And I'll just go ahead and say, hockey can be pretty boring too. But cricket, Jesus. You know why they call it cricket? Because that's what you hear in the stadium. Okay? When somebody gets a goal, crickets. That's what you hear. That's it. But it took America to take sucky-ass rugby. Sorry, I know you're badass. You get your teeth knocked out and all that shit in rugby. But honestly, we took rugby and soccer and made it into an effing masterpiece. We created pro football. We created the Super Bowl. Oh, God in heaven, so glorious. We took cricket, which absolutely sucks, and made it into an American baseball. American baseball, glorious, glorious, glorious in the summertime. Nothing better than listening to a baseball game on AM radio. Oh, God in heaven, Jack Buck, God bless you, and Harry Carey, and Vin Scully, Marty Brennaman. Oh, God, they're so good. And then we created in the NBA this guy who, went to the University of Kansas. I don't know where they created this game with peach baskets and a ball. And we made it effing kick-ass. And we had players who stood over 7 feet effing tall, and they became gods. And we bought their jerseys and we bought their shoes. And we got goosebumps when they stood and the national anthem played. And now, from a very spoiled, entitled place, a rare air that none of us ever breathe. None of us ever breathe. You kids in inner city Detroit who buy jerseys that you have to save your money for. I can't tell you, I used to buy Air Jordans when I was younger and had to save my money for them. And now they're willing to piss on the history of the country and act like the country that made them great. Honestly, done with the NFL. Done with the NBA. Baseball, you're going to make your own bed. If you do it, I'll be done with you too. And hockey, be done with you too. There are better things to do with my time on a Sunday than sit all day and watch football, although I could think of few. But it's a sacrifice that I'm willing to make. Stand for the anthem. Get that shit off your jersey. Play the game that you've been playing since you were an adolescent and retire at 32 or 35 while the rest of us work till we're 70. Done with you. Order the shirt. Order the shirt. Order the shirt. Oh, by the way, Bill de Blasio, when he was painting the BLM logo, people were yelling, you're a douchebag to him. Brandy said, we should bring back Gladiators Roman Coliseum style. Well, that's kind of what in the NFL was, to some degree, except for there was no slavery involved. Although some of these entitled brats who make, $100 million contracts, or Patrick Mahomes, a $500 million contract or whatever, they act like they're being treated like slaves. Funny. What do we got here on the slate here, kids? What sort of fun do we have? What sort of fun do we have? Oh, this is funny. This is Bill de Blasio, who's a complete douche, saying that you need to stay off the street if you're out of restaurants. But this is the ultimate, honestly, the ultimate double standard in a soundbite I think I have ever heard. Because he's fine with BLM protests, which sparked a gigantic spike in the COVID cases around the country. BLM, George Floyd, he's the guy who died in Minneapolis. Thought you should know, you leftists. He's the guy who died in Minneapolis. That this was all based on. That's a lie. It's a Marxist, anarcho-communist line of shit. Anyway, so this is the ultimate double standard in one soundbite from Bill de Blasio.
Big outdoor concerts, and it means things like parades. You know, things that here in the city can mean not just thousands, tens of thousands.
You can't have parades. You can't have outdoor concerts. You can't have county and state fairs.
Hundreds of thousands of people. It's just not time for that now.
What about protests? Hold on. Here goes Wolf Blitzer, who looks again like the crypt keeper to some degree.
Tests. If people want to march down Fifth Avenue, are they going to be allowed to do so?
Get ready for the double standard.
Look, Wolf, this is always an area of real sensitivity. If you're just talking about health, we would always say, hey, folks, you know, stay home if you can. But we understand at this moment in history, people are talking about the need for historic changes. I mean, today in New York City, you know, recognizing the power and the meaning of the message Black Lives Matter, which we did in front of Trump Tower today.
Yeah, and by the way, there are people standing there saying you're a douchebag. Okay, there's nothing powerful about it. It was a face plant.
This is a historic moment of change. We have.
It was not. It was a fart in the wind.
To respect that, but also say to people, the kinds of gatherings we're used to, the parades, the fairs, we just can't have that.
Only the things that agree with me politically. Otherwise, they have to go away.
While we're focusing on health right now.
God, I hate that. I hate him. I think he's a douche. I'll just say it. You're not supposed to hate people. Yeah, you know, I do. Yeah, I'm not afraid to say it. He's a douche. There's nothing to like about him, so I guess the only thing to do is to hate him. Sorry. I'm sure there are some people that, hate me. Oh, Norm says George Kirby. No, that's what Nancy Pelosi called him, George Kirby. I don't want to do that. I've got some funny stuff I want to get to here very shortly on the show that I think you're really going to enjoy. Really going to enjoy. Some really funny stories. Kevin McCarthy is, what is he, a senator? Yeah, senator, talking about the mob. And here's the thing, guys. If you think that tearing down statues, which has ended because Donald Trump says we will throw your ass in jail for 10 years. And tearing down statues and looting and burning buildings and causing massive destruction. If you think that's, and defunding the police, if you think that's going to win this November, you're out of your effing mind. You are out of your effing mind. Here's the ad from Kevin McCarthy.
I don't care that much about statues. People will do what they do.
Okay, so that's fine as long as it's not the statue in your yard.
Statues. People will do what they do.
What an ass.
The radical left-wing
that is a very
serious threat to the American way of life. They won't stop at statues. They've already torched police precincts, low-income housing, and churches.
When people do what they do, that's a very much a Marie Antoinette let them eat cake moment.
It's time to draw the line. Vandals should be prosecuted. And if local governments refuse to restore order, Congress should withhold federal funding.
Hell yeah.
The mob violence against people and property must end, and law and order must be restored.
People will do what they do.
Yeah, well, let them do it at your house. You awful, awful, wretched, terrible, awful person. Shootings up 76% in Chicago, by the way. This is funny. Portland is hell on earth now for a lot of reasons. Portland Police Union leader accusing city and state leaders of defending Antifa and other groups and utterly failing to keep law-abiding Portlanders safe, and they are. They're attacking the federal courthouse. Ooh, I've got something really cool. They've deployed this new audio weapon that causes your ears to catch fire. You little protesters. I'm going to share that in a second here. But here's the Portland police chief talking about the BS that's going on in Portland.
For over a month, police have responded to criminal activity in downtown Portland and in other Portland neighborhoods that has caused millions of dollars in damage and has threatened human life and safety. At times, certain people and crowds have directed violence toward police and other public employees by throwing projectiles such as rocks, bricks, bottles, frozen water bottles, and full aluminum beverage cans.
And what are those water bottles full of? Ladies and gentlemen, would you believe urine?
People have used wrist rockets to fire ball bearings, marbles, rocks, pieces of metal, and other dangerous objects.
This is where we bring in the National Guard, and we start cracking some mother effing skulls.
At high
yes, I said it.
Velocity at police. People have launched explosive fireworks directly at police and have pointed lasers into the eyes of officers and people operating motor vehicles, placing them at risk. People have launched explosive fireworks.
Time to crack some heads
at occupied buildings, placing people at risk. Officers have been injured and required medical treatment. Damage to private and public property includes block after block of broken windows, graffiti, and fire damage. People have committed arson on occupied buildings, placing lives in danger. Crowds of people have stolen so much property from small businesses after breaking in.
Is this the country you want to live in? Is this the one? Is this what you're voting for? If you think this is going to win in November, you're out of your effing mind. And I'm going to tell you right now, this anarcho-communist movement will be crushed like a cigarette butt under my heel.
And causing such damage that some businesses have yet to reopen. A business closed for the day is not just an empty space, but represents years of work and the livelihood of hardworking Portland business owners and their employees, including black-owned businesses and businesses owned by other people of color. Police have de-escalated and remained away from large gatherings. In some cases, and after dispersing groups of people involved in criminal acts, police have again moved away, offering people the chance to stop their criminal activity and return to peaceful, lawful endeavors. Unfortunately, certain people resume criminal activity, causing police to act to prevent ongoing threats to life and safety.
Yeah, I think we're done. And it is time for the children to get a spanking. And it is time for the adults to take over. And the adults will take over. They will. They will. Hello, Norm. You guys watching on Rob Carson show or Rob Carson? Give me some love. And would you do me a favor? Could you just share on Facebook real quick with other folks? This is pretty funny. This is a woman who had some Black Lives Matter people try to stop her in traffic. That's a big deal now, is stopping people in traffic. And Theo Landry, she's an African-American Canadian nurse. And it's a dude. And his friend, who's indigenous, were attacked by someone at a Manitoba rally for black and indigenous peoples because the dumb shits were sitting in the street. And so the person in the car got out a hockey stick and gave him a little what for. And I say, here, here. Smack him in the head. Boom! Boom! Boom!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, too bad. Get out of the
Did it
street.
fall out like as you were? I think it fell out when he tried to break it up.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Got the plate though, you said? Yeah, he got the plates.
Yeah, good. You know what? But who cares? Viral video shows this attack wasn't an attack. It was a response. Headed for Theo Landry, blah, 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 blah. This is Theo. I decided to express my protest and my profound rage by laying in the street. At one point, the crowd of vehicles that were waiting for me to get out of the way got very aggravated at my way of protesting peacefully. One woman started yelling that our protest was meaningless, that we were doing what we were doing was more of a negative aspect. In her eyes, it was viewed by as an aggression to society, that we shouldn't be expressing ourselves. She spitted out slurs toward my friend. Sure she did. Sure she did. Yeah. And at that point, we started threatening us, saying that if we stood there longer in the street, we would get hurt. And you know what? And then they got their asses kicked. Yay, bravo, bravo, person driving a car. Get the F out of the street. St. Petersburg, Florida. Ambulance being called to an emergency situation. Idiots in traffic, here they are, stopping the ambulance, making them go to a new route, which costs moments and could cost lives. There you go. That's genius there. BLM and Antifa. BLM and Antifa. Standing in the way like morons. Oh, it's time for a beatdown. Time for a beatdown. Time for a beatdown. And they had to go another way. God, just hit them. Just hit them. Or you guys in the other cars, get out and knock them on their asses. Who could you not knock on their ass in that crowd right there? There they are gathering in front of the car to stop them, beating on the car. Enough with this horse shit. Honestly, enough. This is a couple of police officers being confronted by some moron who would have nothing to do with All Lives Matter. Instead, it's only Black Lives Matter.
Do Black Lives Matter to the Grosse Pointe Farms Police Department?
All lives matter.
So when you say all lives matter, I just...
Now, I want you to listen to this, because this is a leftist way of kowtowing, of herding you into a narrative, their narrative. It's meant to make you feel terrible. This is textbook stuff, and this officer would have none of it. It's stupid.
I want you to know that is, in fact, a hurtful statement to the black community, and I don't think you're...
No, it's not. I think if you talk to most people in the black community and you're white, they wouldn't say it's hurtful.
Aware of this, so if it's all right with you, I'd really like to tell you why that's a hurtful statement.
I really want to tell you why it's a hurtful statement, because I want you to hear. And these officers are going, okay, go ahead and tell me. I mean, seriously, tell me. I'm really interested.
Is it okay? Can we have a conversation about that?
Can we have a conversation as long as I'm just the only one saying anything? Is that okay?
You can tell me anything you'd like.
So when you say all lives matter, I just want you to know that that's actually really hurtful. So
no, it's not actually. It's not hurtful at all unless you are a little pussy.
I'm going to try this again. Do Black Lives Matter?
All lives matter.
So again, I feel like that's a very hurtful statement, and I'm telling you exactly
and you
why.
are entitled to your own opinion.
So you can't say Black Lives Matter? Like that's just a statement you won't say?
I can say Black Lives Matter.
Okay, then so that's it.
You have to say what I want you to say. Otherwise, you're wrong.
What's your badge number?
76.
God, get out the hockey stick and hit her upside the head.
Badge 76, C. Roden, R-O-D-E-N.
Yeah, is that going to get me fired? Because it's, no, not really.
My badge number is 78. It's Officer Ryan.
Officer Ryan, cool.
Yeah, goodbye, idiot. Goodbye. Oh, God, I got to play this. This is really funny. I don't know who did this. I will find out who it did. This is absolutely brilliant satire. This is what's happening on campuses around the country, and I've written parodies for a very long time, satire for Mr. Limbaugh and other people. This is brilliant. This is a parody of uptight, anal retentive, college campus dwellers who have to have their way. They are arms of political correctness, and this is a brilliant parody of a bunch of superheroes called social justice warriors. Watch this. Bravo. It's fantastic.
Victimizers beware. The racist and bigots' greatest nightmares. Social justice warriors. Get triggered. It's the bias response team.
Notice, brat.
If you've been offended, your feelings must be defended. Go! Freedom of expression is a microaggression. Here comes Antifa Freddy. He's always ready to fight fascism with fascism. Starbucks windows don't stand a chance. Ethic enhancer. He's a systematic racism finder.
And where does he find racism?
Using the powers of screaming and shame, they win every debate by calling your names. They're heroes who think that they're victims. Social justice warriors.
That is really good. That is really good. Really, really funny. Wow. See what I got up here. I got a lot. Oh! This is a new thing that they're testing in Portland. It is an LRAD, which is a device that causes your ears to basically like scream in pain And I think it's wonderful that they're using this non-lethal stuff against these idiot, a-hole, destructive Antifa and BLM protesters. Watch this.
We're not at the building. We're on the sidewalk.
It's a crime scene. Don't cross.
This is a
And I'm thinking that is like totally a white girl who's like maybe 20.
test of the long-range acoustic device LRAD. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
What the fuck
8,
does that mean?
9.
What does that mean? You're going to get blasted. Watch this.
This is a test of the long-range acoustic device LRAD. 1, 2,
Wait,
3.
are they about to test it?
I
What
don't
is
know. I'm getting
happening?
some earplugs out
Stand there, idiot.
What the fuck is happening?
8, 9.
Are they just trying to scare us? I don't know what's happening.
This is a test of the long-range acoustic device LRAD.
Do it.
1,
What the fuck is
Do
happening
it.
right now? 3, 4.
Do it.
What the fuck was that?
Here it comes.
No, that was like a dick,
power dick move. Yes, please. Thank you.
This is where it gets good.
Putting earplugs in, no idea what the fuck is about to happen. Oh my god.
Oh, they did it.
I love it.
They did it. Fuck you guys.
They did it.
Oh, sure, mom.
Right?
Oh, that's so funny.
Just trying to drink some caffeine.
Do it again. You little douchebags. Oh, that just makes me happy. It makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. Oh, man, that's fantastic. This is a Black Lives Matter fool in New York City. And he decided to throw a helmet at a cop. And I love it when BLM protesters who are anarcho-terrorists and Marxists get taken down. Here is the joyous moment. This a-hole who threw a helmet at a police officer was knocked to the ground and tased.
Get off him! Get off that! No, we got that back!
Boom! To the ground!
Y'all see it? Look! Y'all see it? Y'all see it?
Oh, there's the tase. Make sure you're videotaping this after I threw a helmet. Do it again. We'll tase you again. Listen to the shrieking. That's so incredible.
No! You tased me! No! I didn't do nothing! I didn't do nothing!
You threw a helmet, you asshole.
Calm down, dude. Calm down.
Off to jail with you, you douche. Off to jail with you, you incredible douche. Hold on. There we are. Here's Dan Bongino, former Secret Service agent and New York police officer and friend of mine, actually, talking about what's happening in New York.
And joining me now to discuss my open and more, Fox News contributor Dan Bongino. Good evening, Dan. Did you ever think after you left the NYPD that we'd get to the point we're at now?
Judge, this is really, really sad to watch. I mean, listen, I live in Florida now. I've lived in Maryland, but I grew up and was raised in New York City. And watching this happen, I have friends. My mother lives up there. My two brothers live up there. One of my best friends lives up there. He just retired. He was a second-grade detective with the NYPD. He just left. To watch America's, formerly biggest, safest big city just collapse into shambles and chaos in just a few years is really gut-wrenching. I mean, it's really hard to watch. And that it happened because of tangible, touchable, material decisions by this complete buffoon, de Blasio, and his brigade of buffoons around him in the city council is disturbing, Judge. I mean, I've said this now 3 times on the network, and I'll say it again on your show, and I want everyone to listen. If you were trying to destroy New York City, intentionally trying, like Dark Knight Gotham Bane style or something, would you do anything different than de Blasio's doing now?
No, you wouldn't. You think about the bad decisions he's made with regard to the coronavirus and now this. You really have to be so profoundly inept and stupid or just corrupt to do this, because none of his decisions are intelligent or wise. They're only destructive. There were some pro-police protests. This is in, Rockaway, I guess is near New York City. This is kind of nice to see in front of the police headquarters. Come on, baby. People are fighting back and they're tired of it. Not BLM, USA, not BLM. Here's a little bit more to show you how big this protest was, by the way. Rockaway Beach, I guess, New York City. I've not spent any time there, unfortunately. No, I have not. There you go. It goes on and on and on. And there is a massive backlash coming in the country. There is. People are done with this. Nobody is in favor of defunding the police. Nobody is in favor of knocking down statues. Nobody is in favor of not being proud of the country. Nobody's in favor of that. Radical leftists are, and it will fall flat on its effing face. Here's an interesting speech at a rally from, and I don't know who this guy is, but listen to his words. He had some very powerful things to say about the Democrat Party and the nonsense that's been made up about, and it's all been made up about institutional racism in the country. Sorry, there are no laws on the book right now that discriminate against people of color. It just does not exist. It does not exist. It's false. It's a lie.
Crime is real, and most of them are dying from black crimes. White people aren't doing anything to them.
Imagine that.
White people voted Barack Obama in for 8 years. 8 years. Everything that the blacks could be.
What did Barack Obama do for black people? Not a goddamn thing.
They crying about should have did it on his watch, and they didn't. I'm black, 52. I'm not oppressed. Ain't nobody oppressing me. America is more free than it's ever been. That's right. And every black person know that. That's Amen. Right. So they keep listening to somebody make you think they going through this, some little young 19-year-old black person.
Because they created a crisis. They created a crisis for the generation that is right now. In their teens and 20s, they had to create a crisis because they don't have a Vietnam. They don't. Now, Gen X didn't have that crisis, but we didn't feel like we needed to create something. It was the millennials and mostly millennials that have created this crisis out of whole cloth because they need to be victims of something.
They've been through this. They ain't been through nothing.
They've been through dick.
They're creating it. They're creating a problem that does not exist, like they're talking about. Is there racism? Of course.
Of course.
But overall, you understand how far we've come? Huh? Yeah, do you understand how far we've come? We have now in America, white mothers and fathers are allowing their daughters to marry black folks. Y'all know this stuff that don't exist like.
And let's not forget all the white parents adopting black children in foster care.
Like it used to.
Yes, sir. Whole lot of that going on.
Years ago, a white girl could have never. I'm married to a Caucasian woman, the most beautiful woman in the world.
Yeah, but she's probably racist. She's probably racist. I didn't want to say anything, but she's probably racist.
All this talk about racism and all this.
That's what the BLM people say.
Don't listen to it. It's a lie. They don't.
Now, I had mentioned this earlier. Don Lemon, who's a radical leftist on CNN, 7 years ago, and I've been saying this for years. That the real crisis in the country that's causing the massive amount of deaths is the decay of the African-American family. Caused for a variety of reasons, mostly to the Great Society created by Lyndon Johnson, who was a rabid racist. This isn't institutional racism. It is personal choice that has caused so much of this. That the black murder rate, black on black crime, 10 times the national average, that abortions are 60% of the African-American community, that 80% of African-American homes in the inner cities do not have fathers, and this is all incredibly detrimental. And here's Don Lemon 7 years ago agreeing with me.
It's time now for some tough love on the subject. The reason there is so much violence and chaos in the black precincts is the disintegration of the African-American family. He's got a point. In fact,
look at those monuments that are still standing there before they were torn down.
He's got more than a point. Bill? Raised without much structure, young black men often reject education and gravitate towards the street culture, drugs, hustling, gangs. Nobody forces them to do that. Again, it is a personal decision.
But because you're white, Bill, you are a racist for saying the obvious. Do you hear that, Mike, my former friend?
He is right about that too. But in my estimation, he doesn't go far enough. Because black...
Wait a minute. Listen to this.
People, if you really want to fix the problem, here's just 5 things that you should think about doing. Here's number 5. Pull up your pants. Number 4 now.
That's racist.
Now is the N-word. Now number 3.
Wait a minute. That's racist there.
Respect where you live. Start small by not dropping trash, littering in your own communities. I've lived in several predominantly white neighborhoods in my life. I rarely, if ever, witness people littering. I live in Harlem now. It's an historically black neighborhood. Every single day I see adults and children dropping their trash on the ground when a garbage can is just feet away. Just being honest here. Number 2, finish school. You want to break the cycle?
No, that's so racist.
Of poverty? Stop telling kids are acting white because they go to school or they speak proper English. Over the course of a career, a college grad will make nearly $1 million more than a high school graduate. That's a lot of money. And number 1, and probably the most important.
Listen for it. It's very racist.
Just because you can have a baby, it doesn't mean you should, especially without planning for one or getting married first. More than 72% of children in the African American community are born out of wedlock. That means absent fathers. And the studies show that lack of a male role model is an express train right to prison.
And I've been saying that since 1990. But I'm racist because I'm white. Let's move on to some funny stuff. This is pretty funny. This is a piece put together by a guy named Ryan Long. He has created a new service for guilty white people who can't get enough of feeling guilty and white. This is really funny. I talked to this guy online today. Hope to get him on my show on Newsmax this weekend. Check it out.
John, you're a racist, sexist bigot, and any joy you feel comes at the expense of the underprivileged. That is stolen joy. Good session. I'm going to put you through to Bill.
This is for these sadomasochistic white guilty libs who, honestly, they get some sort of sick, sadistic pleasure out of it. You saw it in Rockville, Maryland about a month ago. People getting on their knees and literally cleaning the shoes, massaging the feet, washing the feet of black people out of sheer guilt. It's psychosexual.
Recently, I noticed that there's a huge section of the population that voluntarily watches entertainment that gives them a list of reasons why they're terrible. Tommy, good to hear from you. All your favorite movies are sexist. Everything that you...
I think they're probably paying 99 cents a minute for this.
...ever accomplished is...
And they're going, oh, God, keep it coming. Oh, that's so good.
...of your privilege. Which is why I decided to capitalize on that market share by offering a service that for $9.99 a minute will angrily tell you...
Oh, it's $10 a minute. That's even better.
...you're all the different types of phobic. Frank, let me ask you a question here. Does your girlfriend even have a penis? Oh, you went to lunch with your girlfriend? Some people can't have lunch with their girlfriend because they're gay. Think about that. Every bite you take is a bite out of progress. It now gives them a break from examining the mess in their own personal, business, and financial lives. Liking the country you live in is murder. If we didn't have client scolder confidentiality, I would report you to the police for murder. Sort of like a Catholic priest that only tells you why you're going to hell. Brittany, I need you to repent your bigotry by giving me 10 Halberries. Except in this case, I'm
Halberries.
molesting them financially. Do you know some people don't even have ears? This is your ear privilege that allows you to be scolded for $9.99. Okay, I'm losing one. No, Kendra, I know Vice is telling you you're garbage for free, but this is a premium service. No, do not hang up on me. Do not hang up on me. I'm a brown man. Do not hang up on a brown man. I love being scolded by minorities. The Woke Scold Hotline even makes the perfect gift. Hi, Miss Anderson. Ryan here. Woke Scold Hotline. Present from your daughter. Yeah, the timer starts now, and Miss Anderson, you're a racist bitch. I was recently hired to show up at a wedding where I told the bride she was fat phobic for losing weight for the wedding, and I told the groom he was fat shaming by telling her she looked better now. Then I spent about half an hour scolding the guests who showed up late for appropriating a black wedding.
I'll bet they were so turned on before the honeymoon.
Yeah, it's kind of time for men to be silent right now. No, I don't care if you're the CEO. Ask your marginalized interns how to run the company. All right, Mr. Colbert, I told you have to stop calling me. Just hire your own writers. Well, whose fault is that you fired all the funny ones? I'm sort of
Nice. Swipe it, Stephen Colbert. Bravo.
cashing in on people's ego, and that if they can now hear that they are so mighty and powerful that they are the sole contributing factor to the world's problems, they can now relish in that status while pretending they want to get rid of it.
Okay. Damn. That was good. Really smart. Love that stuff. Let's move on to some fun stuff, shall we? This is, let's see. I'll do a couple more little things here. Real quick. That'll be kind of fun. Yeah, that's pretty funny. Oh, this is a cool story, actually. I'm going to do like a couple here. Severely colorblind guy, Dan Brogger, Stockton, California, was given colorblindness glasses by his kids, Peter, Ben, and Sam, 17, 16, 14, and presented him with a world of color that he'd never seen before. I love this, man. This is beautiful.
Pretty even.
They look like they're the same color?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. You got your new glasses for Father's Day. Please put them on.
Love this.
What do you see?
Red.
Here it comes, Niagara Falls.
Purple. Yellow. Green.
Are you crying?
Uh-oh.
Oh, Dad, I love you.
Uh-oh.
I'm so happy.
Uh-oh.
That's so cool. I think that's so cool.
That's purple.
Yeah.
That's blue.
Love it.
I don't know. You've never seen them before? No. It's red. Yellow. Green. That's so cool. Thanks, guys.
Oh. Dad's trying to be cool. He's getting all choked up. I love that. This is pretty funny. This is you go to a car place to get your tire replaced, and you go to Albuquerque, New Mexico, and you're driving down the road, and all of a sudden the tire comes off.
Let's get through this together.
They're leaving the tire place. It looks like one of those places like, how much? Well, how much you got?
Business.
Driving away from the tire place.
Including the latest info on loans.
Meanwhile, back at the tire place, they're like, hey, man, Lou, where'd you get them extra lug nuts there? Oh, hell.
Other forms of relief.
We're going to go home. What? Uh-oh, you were scraping. Hold on. What just happened? Oh,
Are you serious?
yeah.
You just put them on, too.
Yeah. I'm thinking that's not going to get a good Yelp review. I could be wrong. Two more. This is a little girl. And I brushed my share of hair. Hilarious footage of a toddler making a tearful talk about how dad is pulling her hair. Problem was, dad is not doing it. This happened in Denver, Colorado. This is really cute. Here she is getting her hair brushed, and she really wasn't, but it's very painful.
Does it hurt a lot? A lot? Like, is this the worst you've ever felt? Yeah. Oh, it's so painful, isn't it? Does it hurt so much? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to be very gentle. I really am. I'm trying so hard to be gentle. I am so sorry that it's hurting. I'm just doing a bad job.
That's the same reaction I got from my wife on our honeymoon.
Brushing your hair, aren't I?
Is Daddy not brushing it good?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, I want you to watch this video for me real quick, okay?
Uh-oh. There we go. Thank you, UK Daily Mail, for another funny video. Finally. This would be, this is a, where is it? This is a dog guilt video. I love this. This is a guilty dog. Dogs feel guilt and shame. They hate wearing costumes and stuff. They do. They feel shame. But they also feel enormous guilt when they know they've screwed up. And you catch them, like this dog. This is in Apex, North Carolina. And this dog decided to have some, Max the Boxer is this dog. And this dog apparently got into the toilet paper. And here is old Max. And watch his eyes. This is just effing genius. This is really funny. You come home and there's the toilet paper. I don't know what it is about the toilet paper, but dogs like that toilet paper. Where's Max? Where's old Max? There's a trail here. Where is... Oh, boy. Who could have done this? And we don't have a babe. Oh.
What did you do?
He's like a Democrat when they throw away mail-in ballots. You're like, where are those mail-in ballots? Did you throw away those mail-in ballots? What was that dumpster behind the post office all about? Why did you get rid of all of those Republican ballots?
What did you do? Mister, that's not very good. That was not a good boy.
Oh, when you get that is just, I mean, you get that is not a good boy. Woo! It's all over. Another one from the Weekly World News. All right. It's time for me to go. Thank you for joining me. I hope you had a good time. I had a good time. Margie and everybody. Make sure to order one of these shirts, including I'll Start Listening When You Stop Burning Shit. Order it on tpublic.com. Conservatives. You can also get this for the upcoming football season. There's the NBA season. I'm hashtag done with the NBA. Hashtag done with the NFL. Sam Cangelosi, my graphic designer, and I came up with these. And, I'm not going to wear a jersey this year. And to going like a sheep and wearing a mask every freaking place. All right? Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. Make sure to watch my TV show on Newsmax this weekend. It'll be airing at least 3 times. Which is always kind of fun. NewsmaxTV.com if you want information on that. Also, if you would subscribe on my YouTube channel, that would be huge. Okay, just go to Rob Carson Show. Rob Carson Show on YouTube. Have a glorious evening. God bless. And I will see you again soon.